Here on our screen today, we have Elder Ron Carlos de Jesus. He has an amazing presentation on the 4 stages of the National Sunday Law. His presentation has been around for a while, and then before I listened to Pastor McNaldy's presentation, we had a video about that as well. This man has been saying this for a long time. So I want to bring some viewership to his channel, kind of bring more visibility to his work. I would say this elder is amazing. We are talking, we're in touch. He plans on coming to Advent Media Connect to share some of this with us as well. So in today's video, I'm going to play about 15 minutes of his video. I'm going to put a link in the description below. Make sure you go and watch this man YouTube channel. Some of his Bible studies are amazing. Some of the stuff that he does. And I love the spirit of the man. And I will say, you know, this is the kind of subject that needs to be talked about in these last days. Part of the preparatory work for these final events, drawing us to the second coming of Jesus Christ, the enforcement of the mark of the beast, and all these other prophetic things that are supposed to take place. Understanding our role prophetically and how we ought to behave. This is well presented in a very biblically balanced and filled with the spirit of prophecy. This is well done. So I want you to check it out. This is not the full video. I'm only playing part of the video. I want you to go into his channel, give him some viewership, support the man as well in his ministry. Check out this video till the end, and let's have the conversation in the comment below. I have nothing to say at the end of this video. We're just gonna talk about what's happening here. All right, check it out.
Today we're going to be looking at the 4 stages of the National Sunday Law. In the book of Revelation chapter 13, we're going to start in verse 14. Well, we'll actually look at verse 12. It says, "And he," speaking of America, "exercises all the power of the first beast before him," the papacy, "and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed." Now within America, what's going to take place? "He doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles." So miracles of supernatural demonic power will be taking place, "which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now, as we look at this passage here in Revelation chapter 13, we see a progression taking place. We see that the first beast, its goal of the second beast is to get everyone to worship the first beast. And what is going to take place? We see spiritualism is going to be taking place. We're going to see miracles taking place. And by the means of all these miracles taking place, the people, the regular people on the earth, are going to saying to them that dwell on earth that they should make an image to the beast. So the National Sunday Law, when it really comes about, is not going to come from the top, from the White House, a bill passed which they just decide to pass. It's going to come from the people within America. They are going to call for this, and they will do the demands of the people, and it will take place. But here we're seeing that, especially in 14 and 15, there is a progression in regards to how this will come about. First, we see they're going to make an image. The image is going to be formed. That's one event that takes place. Then once the image is formed, the image is going to speak. And a nation speaks by passing laws. And then when it speaks and passes laws, what will take place? You also see what is going to happen, that it says that no man, verse 17, might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So there are different stages in regards to how this is going to come about. And that's what we're going to look at today, the different stages of the National Sunday Law. And as we know, the book of Revelation, the company book which goes alongside the Revelation, is the book of Daniel. And we can learn a lot about how this will take place by studying especially Daniel chapter 3 and Daniel chapter 6. And let's go to Daniel chapter 3 first. In Daniel chapter 3, here we know in Daniel chapter 2 we had the image, gold, silver, bronze, and iron, feet of iron and clay. And then Nebuchadnezzar decided, after he see that image and was explained the image, he saw the image in the dream, Nebuchadnezzar, having pride, decides, well, I'm going to make a massive image, all of gold, to show that my kingdom will not fade away. It's going to go on and on and on. So then he set up, Daniel 3 verse 1, Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits, and he set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Now, after this image is made, he calls all these different individuals. You see in verse 2, the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, all the rulers of the provinces, to come to the dedication of the image. And everyone must bow down to this image when they hear the music. And who does not bow down shall be cast into a burning fiery flame. So what we see, image is set up, and everyone must bow down before this image. So when we see when it's first set up, it's not zooming in on a specific group. It's very general in nature. Everybody must bow down to this image when it's set up. But what happens is, we know that the 3 Hebrew boys do not bow, and then once they do not bow, when an investigation is made and then they see these individuals are not bowing, then these individuals are pointed out, and then we know that they were cast into the furnace and God was with them. So the point we're seeing as this first stage of the National Sunday Law is going to take place is going to also be very broad in nature. And this first stage, which is going to take place, is really called the economic stage. And in this stage, which is, we hear a lot of talk about this taking place even now, whereby all the stores and all the businesses need to shut down because people are working too hard and people need to come back to God, and we need to get a day of rest because people are working, and we need Sunday as a day of rest. So this is how it's first going to initially come, as a day of rest where no more working on Sunday. Now, this first stage, which is going to take place, is not going to directly affect God's people supremely as it will do in the later stages. Because what the devil wants to do is regards to get that little Sabbath keeping people, to get them persecuted. That's the real issue here. So events are going to be taking place in this world. Natural disasters taking place. Economy is going to be getting worse. Moral decay in this world is going to get worse and worse. And with all these different calamities taking place combined, people are going to say that we need to have Sunday as a day of rest. And no more working because we are offending God by not going to church on Sunday. And in this first stage, in Last Day Events, it speaks about God's people, and it says that the light given me by the Lord at a time when we were expecting just such a crisis as you seem to be approaching was that when people were moved by a power from beneath to enforce Sunday observance. Seventh-day Adventists were to show their wisdom by refraining from their ordinary work on that day, devoting it to missionary effort. So in this first stage, when no one is to work in this first stage, God's people can devote it for missionary efforts, doing evangelism on that day. It says, Testimonies to the Church, volume 9, 232, Sunday can be used for carrying forward varied lines of work to accomplish much for the Lord. On this day, open-air meetings and cottage meetings can be held. House-to-house work can be done. Those who write can devote this day to writing articles. Wherever it is possible, let religious services be held on Sunday. Mark these meetings intensely interesting. Sing genuine revival hymns and speak with power and assurance of the Savior's love. So it's important at this first stage, God's people, not to be so rebellious and just say, well, you know what, I'm going to work no matter what. And God's people are to use their wisdom and employ Sunday in doing missionary work for God. The blessings of God rested upon students as they diligently search the scriptures in order to learn how to present the truths in such a way that these truths would be received with favor when this event takes place. Missionary work. But we know that it's going to escalate. It's going to escalate. So after they first say everyone must go to church, I mean, all the business is closed. No more working on Sunday. We must rest on Sunday. The next stage is the religious stage, whereby they not only saying no more working, they're adding to that now because it's escalating, and they're saying because calamities keep happening, we need to honor Sunday. But in this second stage now, you can still, God's people can still be going on Sunday, on Sabbath as well. But now in the second stage, they're saying church attendance is mandatory. Now, this is when they're saying we need to come back to God. We need to go to church on Sunday. Not only just having a rest, we need to go to church. And here is when it's going to be a topic of discussion, because individuals will say, you know, this is not fair. Why should I have to go to church? People of the world. So it's going to be out in the forefront. And we're also told that lawsuits and court trials will be taking place for those who are not going along with this. So when this Sunday law comes, it's going to be agitated, and it's going to be in the forefront. And it says in Great Controversy 607, as the movement for Sunday observance become more and more bold and decided, the law will be invoked against commandment keepers. So that in that second stage is not really focusing, zooming in on the commandment keepers per se as directing supreme persecution upon them, but God's people at this time are going to see things intensifying and intensifying. Now it's really the third stage is when God's people are really supremely affected. In this third stage, SDAs, God's people who are faithful and will be keeping the Sabbath at this time, in the third stage, persecution comes in and Sunday is enforced and it's mandatory, and Sunday alone you must go to church. And here we're going to see persecution really coming in on this third stage. where you can receive. This is at the stage where the line of demarcation is drawn, and you can really get only the seal of God or the mark of the beast at this stage here. And here is where we're going to have, this is referred to as the little time of trouble. Persecution comes in, and it speaks about it in Great Controversy 6:7. The saints, will be threatened with fines and imprisonment. Some will be offered position of influence, here's bribery, and others rewards and advantages as inducements to renounce their faith. But their steadfast answer is, show us from the word of God our error. The same plea that was made by Luther under similar circumstances. Those who are arraigned before the courts make a strong vindication of the truth, and some who hear them are led to take their stand to keep all the commandments of God. Thus light will be brought before thousands who otherwise would know nothing of these truths. Great Controversy 6:07.